I'm joined by Michelle Berting-Brett, who's going to be center stage for We've Only Just Begun, Carpenters Remembered. This is a show of the Carpenters music. Why did you want to do, first of all, I got to warn people, we're not going to be able to play any clips of you. Sorry, we're not allowed, but we can talk about it certainly. Why did you want to do a Carpenters show?
Well, my history with the Carpenters music goes back to growing up in Saskatchewan, Canada, with their music. And of course, Karen was a big influence on me as a singer. She's a master. And I moved to Toronto, and I got my musical theater training, worked in musical theater, and then started working in other venues, started traveling around the world, doing cruise ships and working in places like Japan and the Middle East and Europe. And everywhere I went, particularly when I was singing pop music or the standard songbook, people would say, gee, you sound like Karen Carpenter.
Really?
Which is the ultimate compliment, and then they would request songs. So I started including their repertoire in my sets and in my shows, and then it's sort of about 1994, I remember thinking, wouldn't it be cool to have a show of all Carpenters music? And so this was in the back of my mind, and when I met my now husband, and I told him about this dream, he was, Michelle, you've got to do it. So he got behind me, and he's the producer of the show.
Okay.
We started it in a small club, a small cabaret club in Toronto, with just a piano and me, just to sort of get the songs on their feet and see what the reaction would be. It was standing room only. People laughed, they cried. And then in its present format, we've been with it for a year. Of course, Mark and I got married. I moved to Connecticut, and we decided we wanted to have it at the highest level that we could. So through our connections in the music business, we found Harry Sharp, our music director, and he really was on board with our vision of recreating that authentic sound that they had. So we have a 7-piece hand-picked band of wonderful musicians who've worked with the who's who of the music business, people like Donna Summer, Winona Judd. Harry was actually music director for both of those wonderful ladies. Our bands worked with Trisha Yearwood, with Reba McEntire, with Michael McDonald, Gloria Stefan, Tom Jones. So they are crackerjack players. And then in combination with all those wonderful songs, we have stories that I have heard from different people who worked with the Carpenters or who knew them personally and professionally, stories that you're not going to see on Wikipedia, on the internet, or you're not going to find them in a book. They're, you know, behind the scenes, really interesting stories about their life and their work.
Now, what a lot of people may not realize is that life began right here in New Haven.
Isn't that cool? And here we are in New Haven! Oh my gosh. Where the Carpenters grew up,
That signature sound, and it's unmistakable. That it's something about her voice. How would you describe it? It's like this clear, pure, almost bell-like quality almost.
Yes, and I think that's the thing. It's such a pure sound, and there's so much warmth in that sound. And then when people say, I've listened and I thought, what is it? There's the purity, there's the warmth, and then I think Karen had a way of imbuing every single word with so much emotion. There's so much emotion in her voice, and it just goes boom right to your heart.
And also her story, the fact that we lost her at such a young age. She was what, 32 when she died?
32 years old, yes. It is. It's really tragic. And of course, Richard has performed so rarely since, and I just think it's such a loss. And because the Carpenters haven't really been on the scene in the last 30 years, people have forgotten how groundbreaking what they did was. Richard's arrangements, using the horns and the strings and all of those layered vocals, it was really groundbreaking.
It was an unmistakable sound of that kind of early 70s kind of pop music, and I think maybe a lot of people might have forgotten by now how many songs that are lodged in the back of their heads were Carpenter songs. Give us a few of the rundown of what you're going to be doing.
This is so true, and this is one thing people say, oh, Carpenters, I don't know if I really know their music. Well, they'll come to the show and they go, oh my God, Michelle, I knew every song. So songs like, of course, We've Only Just Begun, Close to You, Rainy Days and Mondays, Superstar, A Song for You, Yesterday Once More, For All We Know. I mean, the list is endless. And the cool thing, too, is the Carpenters, in addition to the songs that Richard wrote with John Bettis, gorgeous songs, they recorded songs by Backrack and David,
Right.
Roger Nichols and Paul Williams, Leon Russell. So classic, absolute classic songs.
And I know you're not doing an imitation,
No,
but
that's right.
Do people come up to you afterwards and say, that really, I really for a minute thought I was listening to Karen Carpenter?
They do. They actually say, I closed my eyes and I thought it was Karen, which to me is just, oh gosh, it's just beyond, it's just beyond a compliment. I
Yep.
mean, I don't think anybody could ever replace Karen, but God knows we just are so thrilled to be able to bring this music back and to have that response from the audience. People sing along to the whole show.
Sure. It's Saturday
Saturday night, yes.
at Mohegan Sun.
April 12th, Saturday night, 8 o'clock. It's a free show. Doors open at 6:30, and we're going to be at B.B. King's the next night in New York City.
Excellent.
And we'll be going back to Las Vegas at the end of May, June, and of course, we've been all over the country. So it's a real thrill to be home in Connecticut and
All
doing
right.
the show.
Glad to have you here. Thanks. If